Hey guys, welcome back to yet another video, and today I have the 300-pound game winner Farmhand deer feeder with me today. This is one of the newer models they just came out with, but today we're going to assemble it, and over the next month or two we're going to put this in the field, we're going to evaluate it, see how it holds up, and see if it's going to be a reliable product that you're really not going to have to worry about other than every couple of months, hopefully just throwing some corn in. Just got the instructions out, and honestly this is one of the better instruction books I've seen in a while. Pretty self-explanatory, it's simple to understand. Not only that, but as far as materials you need for each step, it's clearly labeled on each bag, especially the hardware. That's a pretty nice touch instead of having some letter or code or you're just having to figure it out. So really do like that. Anywho, with everything laid out here, we're gonna go ahead and start assembling the hopper. Kind of the story with a lot of these things, this is caulked on the motor around those wires. Didn't do a great job. Fortunately, I have a little bit of all-purpose caulk here. So I'm going to throw a little bit of silicone right in that gap. And we'll spread it around just to help seal it up a little bit better. Looks awful, but should do the job. Got the hardware. All we got to do is push it through, align that hardware, and get it tightened in. While not absolutely mandatory, this connector right here, just to reduce the likelihood of it pulling apart, I'm going to put some electric tape around it. If you have some shrink tubing, that'll be even better. I have some, but we'll just keep it simple with a little bit of electric tape. I'm going to go ahead and pull these wires down into this loom as well. That way I make sure everything's nice and snug. Next is the downspout for Phillips head screws. Nice and easy. So we're going to throw this plate on. This will be our spinning plate. And right here there's a flat spot in the shaft. So I went ahead and put the little bolt for step 4 on here. We'll get those lined up. Push that through. I might have to loosen that just a little bit. Now we're going to go up about 1/4 of an inch. I would say about right there. Again, not too tight. We just want that snug. Yeah, I'd say that's about 1/4 of an inch. Maybe a little tight, but that can be adjusted as needed in the field. Take a look at that gap right there. That is a little bit smaller gap, possibly than 1/4 of an inch on the shaft, but I like to run a little bit tighter. Just doesn't allow quite as much corn to go down. So usually keeps the hopper filled a little bit longer. I just want to put little spritz out at a time. Well, this part's basically going to be putting a lot of nuts and bolts in for the legs, but I put the cardboard down from the box. That way, when I did have to tip this over, I don't want to damage the solar panel. We're going to be nice and gentle about it. And I'm just going to go ahead, fast forward through all this, and putting all these nuts and bolts in for the legs. Well, it's the next day and I brought my little helper with me. As mentioned, we're going to go ahead and get the critter cage on now. Now in the past, the timers I've had, they just run off a 12-volt battery. However, this one has double A's. Not my favorite design in the world. It's just something else you got to remember, and also something else that could corrode. You lose a lot of waterproofing when you leave the back open like this and you just have a small plastic cover. That said, the timer is going inside the hopper, and inside it's a little encapsulated area, so you really got 2 layers of protection. My main concern with this is corrosion for the batteries over time, and is that going to mess up the timer where you're going to have to buy one once a year. We'll have to see how that goes, but something to note. Oh, we finally got it done now. You excited? Yeah, I figured. Overall, we have the 18 gauge steel as mentioned. Not the thickest, not the thinnest. Ought to be decent. Welded corners though, better than some of the other game winners I've had in the past. Also, the most likely thing to go out is going to be the timer, which should be easy to find, and the motor, which has a parts number, which some of my old game winner feeders did not. So once the motor went out, well, that was basically it. But I'm excited. 300 pounds of capacity ought to be good for a couple of months. Once we get up to the camp, we're going to throw the battery, get the electronics done real quick, and then we'll be field testing this thing. Last thing to mention, I do like the critter cage design. Should be far enough away that's going to be hard for raccoons to push, and with those flaps down, it makes it even more difficult. Whenever it starts rotating, those flaps will pop open, allowing the corn to come out. So I'm excited to see how that does to mitigate losses, just because we do have so many raccoons. Now there's a few wires coming to this box. First one's going to be your solar panel wire sitting right here in this black loom. Then you have your main motor connector. I went ahead and just put those together. And these pigtail into your solar panel, and then these go into the battery, followed by this one going into the timer. You also have this one. This is just a test wire if you want to throw a battery on there, or you just want to omit the solar panel altogether. I want to go ahead and stick that one back in here. But for solar panel, I'm just going to connect red to red, black to black on these pigtails. There. And then we're going to run a test real quick. As you can see, it's giving me that battery indicator saying it's fully charged, which is true. In 7 seconds, we'll get a test on this thing. Well, there we have it, 300 pounds. It's topped off just enough, but I think this ought to last at least 2 months, maybe 2.5 if I'm lucky. One thing I will note, instead of putting the silicone bead down here, I should have done it around the edge up here, so I will do that in the future. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and hit that test button and see how this thing does. We got 10 seconds. I'm hoping it'll just put out a little spurt of corn just to keep them coming in. Nice. Yeah, plenty of corn, not too much directly under the feeder, which is perfect. That'll keep them from digging out just from underneath it. It threw that corn about 15-20 feet. That is fine for something sitting maybe 2.5 feet off the ground. Well, it's finally out here in the field. It was nice and easy to field, definitely a low height. I'm 5'10", didn't have an issue. Seems to be throwing corn at pretty good distance with that 12-volt motor. But time will tell as to how effective this thing is, so I'm going to give it about a month out in the field. I got a trail camera set up, and we'll see how it performs over that time and whether I can improve this thing or not. So it's been a little bit over a month, and I'm just coming down here to check the feeder and see how it's doing. Look at this. Still plenty of corn after a month, probably 75 pounds or so gone, so it's not going to take much corn to refill this. Also, I've had a really heavy thunderstorm come through last night, as well as a couple others throughout the last month, and this is completely dry. It's not wet. That's great news. Glad to see that this new design is working. But yeah, overall, this feeder is working out great. It is throwing corn, and the deer are coming to it. Well, there's not much more to say or do. This thing's in the field, it's performing well, and the corn is dry, so I'm happy with it. If you're looking for a smaller capacity feeder that ought to be able to last at least a couple months, then this may be something to consider. But guys, I do hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please make sure to share, like, subscribe for more, and as always, thanks for watching.